Hey all, today we're going to do a lesson on Drowned, the acoustic one, not the full band one, the electric thing, but the solo versions that Pete does. And if you watch it's in standard tuning, but if you watch the different ones over the years, not surprisingly, he used to capo pretty high up. Like if you watch the one from the Policeman's Ball in '79, I think he's like up at 7 or something, up in there. But then if you watch the one from Albert Hall in like 99 or 2000, whatever that was, he's down lower to like 4. And then if you watch the ones he did this year, like on all the talk shows to promote the Quad re-release, he's down at like 2 or 3. So it keeps going down, and he's just doing that to suit his voice, so you should probably do the same. But I just found the pitch by putting on the Albert Hall one, and I think it's at 4. Depending, I don't know if I was up or down from standard when I put it on, but it doesn't really matter where you put if you're doing it solo, it doesn't matter where you put it. And the other thing is, if you're going to try to play along with it, good luck, because he does all this kind of, his typical strumming that's impossible to play along with. But if you come up with your own version of it, put the capo wherever you want. So it's in standard tuning. It starts in G. And you probably or may play your G's like this or play it like that, standard. But for this song, you got to play it like this, with these 3 fingers, your middle, ring, and pinky finger, because you're gonna be doing this. So that's the sort of motif riff that goes throughout it, and in fact shows up in a lot of songs on Quad. Having that sort of operatic theme to it. So it starts with this little thing. In fact, it sounds like this. So it starts with this one. In the counting up from this as the 0, the capo is the 0 fret. You're in the 3rd. So middle finger on the D string, ring finger on the B, and pinky on the high E. And you're playing only those 4 strings for this part, but I'll get to that in a second. So when you're first doing it, before he gets into strumming it, he sort of picks it. So it's those 4 strings with the G string open. And then the next one is a regular G, except you're sort of suspending it. So it's 3rd fret on the low E and the high E, both at the 3rd. And then B string at the 1st, D string at the 2nd. So you're picking it, so you're not hitting this low one, but you're going to finger it, and I'll show you why in a minute. So it's back and forth between it. It starts a regular G, back up to that, almost like an A minor 7, except you're not hitting the A string. Right, and your pinky stays on that high E string at the 3rd fret throughout that. And so then when he gets into strumming it, he just starts going. And if you watch some versions, because it's hard to get you're playing that bass G note on the 3rd fret on the low E throughout it, and it's hard to get it when you're up here, because you need your middle finger and you need to move the fingers. So sometimes, I think on the newer versions I've heard, I think he's reaching his thumb over the top to hit that G, so it sounds. Then it's back to regular G, except those 2 on. So that bass G or G note on the E string rings throughout it. But then I've watched, and heard some of the older ones, like the Policeman's Ball one, and I think the one he did on the Oceanic record. He just avoided that low note entirely, so he strums only those high 4 strings when he does this chord shape. See, I'm even unconsciously gripping that low G note, but I don't think he was doing that in the early one. So do whatever feels right to you. Man, high up there fishing, haven't seen quite enough of the world. Ain't seen a sign of my hero, and I'm still diving down for fun. Right, that's through the verse. And then it does this thing. Into the ocean. Okay, so that's a D up here. It's the same kind of D that Pete uses a lot, actually, because it allows you to let the D string ring open. So it's D open, and then 7th fret. 7th fret on the G and the B, and then 5th fret on the E. So you're playing all 4 of those high strings, starting with the D. Then move it down 2 frets to C. Then it's B minor. Still playing that D open. This is the part that goes, let me flow into the ocean. That's a C, really. Except I do it as open, sort of C. Open D, open G, B string at the 1st fret, and high E open. Let me flow back to the sea. So those same 3 shapes that you're doing at the beginning. Let me restore me. And set me free. And then it's rolling over again. It goes through another verse of it. And then another one of these. And oh, I should tell you that I'll explain that. So it's those three, and then the B minor with the open D string is high E at the 2nd, B at the 3rd, G at the 4th. That's and with the D open. So normally you'd play a B like this probably, but that's just the high 3 notes of it with the D open. Just that one string covered B at the 1st fret. So it goes through another verse, and then it goes to this I am not the actor part. I am not the actor. This part, this can't be the scene. Okay, so it starts in a D, regular D, and then it's just the A and the B string at the 3rd fret. You know, picked. I can't teach you the picking. In fact, I haven't even listened close enough to see what he's actually doing. So I just kind of fake it. That 3rd chord is a G basically, except you're only playing the middle 4 strings. Actually, all 5 of them you play the high E too if you want. So it's D, those 2 at the 2nd fret, A and B at the 3rd fret, and then this one where it's partial G chord, the A string at the 2nd, B string at the 3rd, and leave that high E open for these chords. Cover the high E, open. Back to that 2nd chord again with just those 2, A and B at the 3rd fret. I am not the actor. This can't be the scene. That part. I am in the water, far as I can see. Right now it modulates up to A. So that's A. That's B at the 3rd. G, still covering that whole A, G at the 2nd, and then D at the 4th. So that's the D and the B strings at the 5th fret. And you can let the G open, E open. And of course, it's that 1 chord, the 2 chord, 3 chord, then back to the 2 chord, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. It's the same exact shapes as this, except in an A configuration. Except you're not bothering to cover the A at the 2nd fret, you just let it open. Because these 2 are the same note. The D and the G are now both a G note. So, and then he's doing all this. And all this stuff, that nonsense that he does. So he's jamming around with those 3 chords. Sometimes he makes it an A5 chord by covering the B and the E up at the 5th fret. And then, okay, so it goes through that part where he's jamming around on all his fancy picking nonsense. And then modulates one more time, still in A. Down to E. So you start with an E. Then this second chord is G string at the 2nd fret, A string at the 4th, with the D string open. And you can hit all 6 strings on that chord. This chord is like an E7 moved all the way up here. So it's G string 4th, A string 5th. Then back to the second one. And he just goes right back to G. He just slows it down, quiets it down, and then goes back to the original first riff for the last verse. And work into a strum. And then he just kind of outs it on that drown in it, drown in your sweet, sweet love. He's just doing this over and over for the outro. And that's really all the song. The guitar solo, if you want to call it that, is all his fancy strumming and sort of ad-libbing on the main chords. Good luck with that, and if you need any help, send me a note.